Okay, we'll begin our work session. And we're going to start with tourism. Rob,
Okay,
your setup look like ready to go?
ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, well, good afternoon. Commission, thanks so much for the opportunity to be here today. And I want to thank our board of directors who are here as well. They're such a supportive, energetic group of individuals that support me and the staff every single day of the year. And so I'm thankful that they not only love this industry, but they love this destination. And very grateful for them to be here today. We wanted to just sort of give you an opportunity. We presented to City Council a few weeks back and shared this presentation with them. And so we wanted to have the same opportunity to present to you a little bit about kind of what happened in 2023, and then also just some other projects and programming that kind of goes on throughout the year and some of the things that we're looking forward to. So with that being said, I'll move forward. So just to kind of give you a quick glimpse, let me see here, a quick glimpse on the local economy, the visitor economy. Visitors spent a little over $333 million. Visitor expenditures were a little over $33 million in Lauderdale County alone in 2023. Just to kind of give you an idea, about 3 years ago, we were about the $280 million mark. We passed the $300 million mark in 2022, and we're well up over $333 million. So we're setting our sights on $400 million in visitor spending in Lauderdale County alone. And that's about a 3.5% increase over 2022. We employ a little over 3,600 people in Lauderdale County and well over 5,000 people in the Shoals area. As you know, we have sort of rebranded as Visit the Shoals several years ago. Our purpose in that was that we want to broaden the experience and extend the stay of each visitor that's in the area. Visitors don't see county and city lines when they're here. And so our motive, our approach is that if we can give people the full experience, then it's beneficial to our businesses and to the experiences that are here in this area. So visitor spending since 2015 has increased by almost $106 million just in Lauderdale County alone. At the state level, about 28.8 million people visited Alabama in 23, spending almost $23.5 billion, which is almost a 5% increase over 22. Tourism helped to fund almost 246,000 jobs in Alabama last year. And that spending obviously has an impact and funded the state's general fund of over $86 million as well in 2023. So just to kind of get into some of the programming that we've had, hopefully all of you know about Mavis's Movin' and Groovin' Bus Tours. It was a product development initiative of ours about a year ago. We received some grant funding for this project, and so we took this to our design agency. We had already named the bus Mavis before we had given it to them, and they came back with this brand. They said, we really feel as if that the tour needs to have its own identity outside from the CVB, and so they came back with this. And so we offer now 3 weekly tours, a city history tour, and then 2 music tours here in the area. We have 2 outstanding guides. Billy Morin, who of course is the city historian, is our lead guide for history, and then Kevin Lamb is our lead guide for music. Kevin spent about 40 years in the publishing industry in Nashville, and then came back home here to the Shoals area where he resides now and leads those tours. So hopefully you've all seen too the Shoals mural that we have at McFarland Park. Scott Campbell, who is a local guy from Sheffield, a muralist, an international renowned muralist actually, created this, and we sort of put together an advisory committee on this and looked at this particular mural and the creation of it. It now has a QR code plaque out front where you can scan that with your phone, and it'll take you to YouTube, where you can hear 3 audio segments on the backstory of this mural. And so Haley Phillips and Jerry Phillips, along with Rodney Hall, have all recorded a segment of that, and you can listen to that on our website as well too. We also had prints available at our gift shop. We have ones signed by the artist and ones that are unsigned, and they can be purchased there. The exciting thing about this is that we're continuing to get funding for these projects, and so we now are scheduled to, hopefully, if everything goes through, to do our next mural in Rogersville. That'll happen I'm not sure exactly the building. When you turn left down into Rogersville, there's a mural that's currently there on the wall. That is going to be repaired, painted over, and that mural is going to go there. So the mayor has given us his support on that particular project. We're just waiting now to get the agreement back from the building owner, which we believe will be this week. And we'll be able to probably start that, hopefully October 1st is when we'll start that. And so the goal of this is to have a bit of a mural trail through the Shoals area as well. American Cruise Lines has been a great addition to our area this year. In 2023, we had 14 arrivals from 2 different ships with American Cruise Lines. This year we have 26 arrivals from 4 different ships. That began on May 15th, and they run all the way through November 4th. So we're kind of at our halfway point right now throughout the year. So we've had we've had 13 arrivals. We have another 13 that are coming up. Our next one's Sunday. But we have contracted with them. So they're here 26 times. Each time they're here, we do 4 Shoals studio tours. That's 104. I think that's 104. Studio tours that we do with them while they're here in town. So it's been a great piece of business for our organization as well as for all of the businesses within the community as well that benefit from it. They also are planning to make a $30,000 investment down at McFarland Park. We don't know kind of what form that's going to take place. It might be a staging area for the ship itself, but we're looking forward to seeing what they're going to do when they make that investment. Something else, some other programming that we've done, and this is our 3rd year. It's called Muscle Shoals to Main Street. One of our prime feeder markets for our destination is the Franklin, Williamson County, Nashville, Davidson County areas. We see a huge influx of visitors from that particular area. And so some of the ways outside of digital marketing, print marketing, various other things, we try to get in the market and do sort of what we call like a takeover or maybe a pop-up. And so we have targeted the Shoals Theater as that, and we partner with a magazine up there called Your Williamson. And so this is the 3rd year. It'll happen on November 19th this year. We usually take 3 hit songwriters with us for that night. So Lenny LeBlanc, Gary Baker, Philip White, Chris Tompkins, and several writers have been there. This year, as you can see, Ed Hill, James LeBlanc, and Billy Lawson are going to be joining us. And every year it is sold out. So we pack out the Shoals Theater. And so it's a great way for us just to be able to get in front of that market, that audience, and remind them again of how great the Shoals is. So quickly, not to get too deep in the weeds here, we do digital marketing campaigns for our destination. We do a lot more than just host fishing tournaments and give out visitor guides. Our prime objective is to drive overnight visits in this destination. And so one of the ways that we do that is through digital marketing. And so we've found a firm called Epsilon. We're in our 4th year with this particular agency. And they are the largest outcome-based marketing firm in the world. And what that essentially means is that they ensure that for the dollars that you invest, that you're going to see a return on those dollars. So as you can see from this, we made a $60,000 investment for this campaign, this 6-month campaign, and it yielded over $2.1 million in spending. And the reason why we know that is because of your credit card and your cell phone. And so there's no secret that companies are able to track that. All of that information is private. We never see any personal identifiable information from the company. All we see is just data in terms of where people are visiting from, how much money they're spending, where they're moving around, how they're navigating around the community. And so that's been really helpful to give us market intelligence in terms of how do we go back and make sure that we're fishing in the right areas. And so about 9,800 visitors came into the market during that 6-month period. So that was a 36-to-1 return on ad spend. So for every dollar that we spent, the campaign returned $36 of spending as a result of this campaign. There were 34,000 transactions, about 3.5 purchases per visitor. And if you took out everything else, we've had to kind of grow to this number, but the return on our accommodations, our overnight, was 3-to-1. It was $174,000 in spending. So again, our prime objective is to get people here to stay 1, 2, 3 nights. And so if you were to remove all the other sectors of this campaign, retail, restaurants, attractions, museums, the accommodations component of it actually gave us a 3-to-1 return on the spend. So, and then of course, as you can see, Nashville generated the highest yield per visitor at almost $275 per visitor. So much higher than the other markets that we looked at, such as Memphis or Birmingham or Huntsville. So we want to continue to pull those people out of Nashville to get them here because they spend more money than the other average visitors in those other markets. So, and then of course, it also serves as an awareness campaign, top of mind campaign. Not only did 9,800 visitors come, but about 1.1 million individuals saw the campaign. So again, just creating awareness about the Shoals and who we are. So this is just some of the creative that we used. Static creative, we kind of focused on music, outdoors, and history. This year we introduced a commercial for the very first time, a 30-second commercial on the Shoals. And it really is a nice sort of depiction of everything that you can do. It's really focused on summer, where the video actually ran, the commercial actually ran. And then of course, very essential part of this is the media buy. So an organization like us doesn't have the clout or the power to be able to buy media in some of these outlets like Epsilon is able to do. So as a result of that, they were able to get us in platforms such as, is this Condé Nast? Or, yeah, this is Condé Nast. Vogue, Travel and Leisure, and I guess that was it for that. That's just a sampling of some of the platforms, but USA Today and National Geographic and some of the other platforms that are just very, very important for us to be able to be and be present on. So that was very good as well. So this just to kind of give you a rundown. I'm not going to go through every single tournament of this. We've got 4 slides of this, but we host well over 30 tournaments annually, and we've really broadened our sport tourism portfolio to include golf, disc golf, bass fishing, catfish fishing, baseball and softball. We're trying to really broaden that. And so that's just a quick sort of rundown. There's a few slides there. Of course, we just are in the middle of the 2 World Series. We had the softball Babe Ruth World Series last week, 57 teams here in the area. Couldn't find enough hotel rooms for them. And then, of course, the Cal Ripken baseball tournament is going on right now as well. And that was a great sponsorship, actually, between the city and ourselves. This is actually the 3rd tournament now that we're partnering on with the city. The Alabama High School Regional Softball Tournament that we do in the spring, and then these 2 World Series as well, which has been a really great partnership. And then I think there's just one more. Those are a few more in the fall that we're going to be doing. The Tourism Improvement District, hopefully you all know and are aware, and I know you are aware about the Tourism Improvement District. So this is a self-imposed assessment that the hotels add to their folios. It's a 4% fee that is added to their folios, which is collected by the properties. It's passed on to the guest of the hotel. And so that collection actually begins September 1st. We were actually I like to say the second, but we were probably tied for second city in Alabama that had this. Of course, Mobile's had theirs for a couple of years. But on the very same day, Montgomery passed their TID as we did. So there are 3 cities in Alabama that have a TID now, Montgomery, ourselves, and Mobile. And so this will begin on September 1st. It's a 10-year term for this particular TID. We have assembled a board of directors of 10. 7 of those are hoteliers. 3 are community organizations, including myself, Downtown Florence, and the City of Florence. And of course, this is a Florence City District. It's not countywide, it's just within the city. So our estimated first year of collection should be just a little over $1 million. Of course, as we create more demand in this area, as more hotels are added, that fund is only going to continue to grow. The wonderful thing that I love about this particular fund is that we are designed to be a sales and marketing organization. So we take to market those assets and experiences that we have here. We do create some product offerings from time to time, such as our Muscle Shoals Backstage Pass, our Mavis Bus Tours, the Mural Trail, but technically that's not really our role. What I love about the TID is they can create product offerings, and that's not only good for visitors, but it's great for residents as well. So if you can think of things that are around here that are supported by the visitor economy, and that without the visitor economy, they wouldn't be sustainable. The same thing is true for new product offerings. Once we get new product offerings, those are things that are going to sustain and last, such as water parks or amphitheaters or new festivals and events. Those are also good for residents. And so we're excited that that's going to be a new addition to our area as well. So as I mentioned, that's the last point there. And I think there's our board in person and on the screen. Great group of individuals. There's our team represented there. Really, really thankful and blessed to be able to work beside these folks every single day. They do a fantastic job for our organization every day. Linda's been with us for the longest, 8 years outside of myself, and then Tyler's also been there about 7 years. The others are relatively new. So, and Brenda, I didn't do that in 15 minutes, but I think I was close. So, anyway, but any questions at all?
Mr. Chairman, I've got a comment. Rob, I applaud you and your staff. I'm not surprised because you've got a board that's just made up of visionaries. So
That's right. Absolutely.
Congratulations, you guys are doing well.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. Eli Harper.
How are y'all today?
Pretty good.
I recognize a few of you. I didn't know how many of these to print out. I didn't even know what to expect coming to this. I've never had to do any presenting or anything to you guys, but this is just what I call fluff material. And all, but how are you? Mr. Joe, I didn't shake hands, but I guess I did.
Good to see you, buddy.
And I haven't met you before. I think you're here. So my job here is just to kind of present just real quick and just kind of. My name's Eli Harper. I just appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to present to you this afternoon. I own and operate Shoals Financial, or Shoals Premier Strategies. Used to be Shoals Financial Group here in Florence. We're located just right down here, a couple blocks in the New Grove downtown facility and all. And so one of the things that I do, insurance and investments are kind of my bread and butter, but I also work with business owners, real estate investors on tax strategies as well. Tax strategies maybe not something y'all are familiar with because you're a state entity and you don't really dig into those things. But here lately I've been working with a lot of nonprofit and state entities and giving them the opportunity to put money back into their pocket. Anytime we can talk about that is usually something that people like to hear about. So if you are a business owner, you maybe enjoy this. Cost segregation. You familiar with cost segregation? Cost segregation allows people basically to depreciate their assets of the buildings and the things that they use to remodel those buildings, the fixtures, all the land improvements, personal property and things. They can depreciate those instead of over a 27.5-year or 39-year period of time. We can move those things up to 5 to 7 years. And cost segregation has been around since 1962. There's some historical information in that packet that I gave you that I talk a little bit about how it's kind of developed over the years. But the biggest thing I just really want to focus on is the fact is, as you being a state entity, you may or may not have realized that you can actually work cohesively with your contractors that implement and build your facilities that y'all put into place that be able to pass along that depreciation to that contractor that he would normally not be able to depreciate because it's not his business. So through a 179D allocation form, you can actually assign that credit over to that contractor because they in a sense paid for all of that material. They have everything broken down as from the plans, the blueprints, the cost of everything, the final settlement, all those kind of things. And they can actually assign all of that to them and they can apply for that depreciation. And through that depreciation, they can now in turn donate back to the state entity out of that refund that they would have gotten. There's an example in one of those sheets, right, that's the next page over. That's the common page of how standard depreciation normally works, but we're not going to talk about that. But basically, the way we look at it, if you see it, I just got what's called the John Doe building. It's kind of what I called it, just as a reference. So basically, in a cost segregation, since you don't qualify that, what you're able to qualify for that and through this is all the energy efficiency sides of it. So your lighting, your HVAC, your windows, your doors, your insulation, those types of things you're able to qualify for. And so that's all that this contractor will be able to claim. He can't, claim all the construction components, the sheetrock, things like that. It's basically those elements which make up the energy efficiency. The most that we can claim on a credit such as that's $5.80. Okay? There should be no reason in any bill that we do now that we can't max that out because you can't buy anything now that's not energy efficient. So $5.80 is the amount that we can apply for max on something like that. And just to give you an idea, this is a building that I just worked with. It's not called the John Doe building, but it's a building that I just worked with. It cost $19 million to put into place. I'm not worried about the cost of the building. I'm just worried about what it took to put into it square footage wise. So this particular building is 55,729 square feet. If we looked at that at $5.80, we're talking $323,000 and some change that we would be getting back as a refund. But if that contractor is in a 37% tax bracket, which I showed in this example, his refund that he would get off of that would be $119,594 is what he would be paying in taxes. So he would see in his pocket $203,634 that he would have never gotten to have seen before, but because you signed that 179D allocation form, he now gets to claim it. So out of that, there's a 6% fee. American Incentive Advisors that I work with, they're built out of Texas. Brian Pearson's the CEO of that company, and he was a Major League Baseball coach back in the day, and all he does is, outside of his financial stuff, is apartments, townhouses, things like that. And when he found out about this cost segregation, he said, well, if I can get this with my financial background, why can't I not help other people get this credit as well? And so that's how AIA was actually founded, on cost segregation. We also do research and development credits. One of the biggest things we just got done doing is the employee retention tax credit and things like that. So this cost segregation has been around for a long time. And so through this, we're able to basically make it possible for you and that contractor to work cohesively in two different ways. One, on any past building that you put together, we could go back as far as 10 to 12 years. We could probably even go back further than that because technically nothing's been depreciated. And so that's what this is all built on, is just depreciation scales. Through that, there's a checklist that that's on the very back of that shows the 7 or 8 requirements that contractor would basically be. It's the one before, I think. No, that's the next one. It's the next one, Brad. That very last page is the checklist of components. The first 8, which have an asterisk beside them, those are the required things that we have to have in order to put our survey and our plan together. This doesn't affect, there's nothing on y'all's side that you would have to do except sign the 179D allocation form. The rest of that, the cost, the fee, everything is on the contractor at that point. So I've had a couple people ask me in this situation, well, how do I know I'm going to get my donation back? How are we going to work that out? You can set up a contract between you and that contractor that says, hey, based on what you're getting back in your refund, this is how we're going to work it out, whether it's a 50-50 split, whatever it is, because whatever he's getting back is money he would never see. So this is just kind of an agreement with that. It could be potential that you have this in motion with future endeavors, and they may actually cut you a better deal on a build, knowing they're going to get this credit, and then you don't have to worry about getting it back in a donation. They just cut that off their cost. That's the beauty of this. Now, when it comes to the cost segregation survey, you have to have the tax engineer, and that's where it comes into play. Tax engineer is gonna come down, they're gonna break everything down via their blueprints, all the cost materials, the final settlements, look at the tax returns, those kind of things of that contractor, and see how much is depreciated, things like that. But they're gonna look and break everything down and do a site survey on that actual building. And then they're gonna put together a 60-page report that basically explains why they're getting the refund that they're getting and how we're depreciating it in such that way. So in the event of like an audit, if they ever get audited, AIA covers that. And that fee that they would pay actually helps pay for that. They wouldn't have to come out of pocket or do anything as far as defense attorneys and things like that go. But AIA would handle that audit if it ever came into play. But the 60-page report that's put together, and then from there, it's basically just filing like a normal tax return. This is not a tax credit. Let me explain that. It's not a tax credit. It is a true tax deduction. So like if you're familiar with ERTC, everybody's like, oh, this is not something we want to do. It kind of sounds fishy. It probably can because it's a tax credit, something the government put into play. It's COVID relief money, that kind of thing. This is a tax deduction that government wants you to take, but most people don't know they can take it because you have to have the tax engineer. Most CPAs or accountants don't have that type of in-depth study and specialization, so they don't typically dig into it. So I know that's a lot of material that I just threw out real quick. I know I don't want to take much of your time, but it's just something that's out there. I thought, if we want to look at it in the future, maybe work together, we can get together and talk about how it worked. But my goal is just to put money back into the pocket that you may have not ever saw. So that's all I've really got. So.
How does that
Thank you.
affect public funds?
It shouldn't affect public funds at all because what all this does is just there's nothing on you as far as the county. There's no liability, there's nothing. This is strictly that contractor who's making a donation back to the county.
We've had somebody come and talk to us about this a few years back, and there was some reason why we didn't qualify for it.
Yeah, because, you technically don't qualify for it. That's the beauty of it. You're just assigning through that 170D allocation. You can't file for the depreciation. Yeah, so the 179D, it just allows them, because I'm working with a lot of state and nonprofit entities right now that are doing this, and basically they sign that credit over. Basically you're giving them the power of attorney to claim that your depreciation that you would have been able to depreciate if you were a for-profit entity. So, I just knows a lot. I just wanted to put that bug in your ear. That's all I was here for. Is just to kind of let you in. If you want to go talk further, I'll be more than glad to talk further in the future. So, that's all I got.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks,
Just
Eli.
wanted-
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want to waste your time, but I just wanted to let y'all know that exists, and we can. If you have any questions, I'll give you my card too, just in case you need anything.
Share yourself.
Get a drink courtesy of a free sushi.
You can turn it for free sushi. We might just turn it in for free sushi.
This guy has an excellent restaurant,
Yeah.
folks, if y'all.
It's pretty good. It's not too bad. I'm gonna speak highly of it.
Outlaw?
Outlaw Sushi, yes, sir. Yeah, so we're glad to have y'all come and join us. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Eli.
Thanks, Eli.
Thanks, Eli.
Okay. Joe, you have anything? Hey, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Handful of things tonight. First thing to update, cement tankers, we've been talking about that. We opened those bids this Thursday for the cement tankers, and so I guess the $1 million question is assuming the bids come back good, is do we want to buy it now or do we want to wait till next year's budget? So we've also got a cement bid out that we will open the 26th, and so we're ready. In the meantime, we're buying cement, but that costs about $1,250 a load to get it hauled to us. So the quicker we get a tanker, the quicker we don't have to pay that. So that's just something to think about. We'll open.
Which is the cost of the tanker?
Well, we don't know, because we'll open bids Thursday.
I mean, don't you have a ballpark?
I'm gonna guess 90, about 90,000.
What do you have to have a full bit tank?
It's lowboy tractor. So we're gonna use our old lowboy tractor. Yeah. And so we've got that far, but this is how we get it to the site. And so, that's up to you guys. Just know that next Monday we'll have we would be able to if we wanted to vote on that to accept it.
Is that a vehicle you can buy off the shelf, or do they have to build that?
They built part of it. They'll have to build the spreader bar on the back. Because that's pretty specific, and that's in the bid, but that's pretty specific to what we're doing. That's very common for a lot of people to do it, but they do have to build that part. So the normal cement tanker, like USA Ready Mix, they've got them. They go to the Cemex terminal in Decatur, buy cement, take it to the cement plant, offload it into their silos. That's all they do, is transport it. And we are gonna go to Cemex, or whoever the low bidder is, that's got a terminal within 60 miles of us, and come to our site, and then with that spreader bar behind it, we would spread it on the road and then incorporate that in. So,
But you're gonna use the tanker as a storage?
no, just a hauler. It'll go from the plant to the job site, put it on the road, we'll incorporate it, and then he'll go back and get more. So it's a glorified dump truck. So
Or
we
if you
can't haul
don't
this
use
stuff.
all of it, I'm not understanding, what are you gonna do?
We're gonna
If you
use
don't use all the cement on a particular job,
We're gonna use all of it.
so you're gonna order it that way?
Yes, by the tanker, yes. You gotta remember, we're fixing, like that road in Roswell, it's a mile and a half long. And so we got plenty of places to put it. And so anywhere you've got a felt spot, it needs cement. Now, we
Did you
wouldn't
pave
put,
the other one yet?
pardon?
Did you pave the other one yet? They get it paved yet?
So
What do you think the estimated time to deliver that truck?
that's the other thing. I think we're probably talking early October. But the difference is if we wait and buy it, let's say in November, weather's probably gonna mess us up on doing this. You know.
So Eric, you said we was gonna save $1,200 and something per load for shipping. How many loads you get a year?
Well, if our cement bid comes in and it comes out of Decatur, we're getting 3 loads a day. Probably talking 10 to 12 loads a week,
So that's,
not long,
$10,000 a week in freight alone.
easy. Yeah.
So if my math's once again served me right, in 9 weeks, we would have paid for this.
And just so you know, the reason that's so expensive is that guy's coming out of Evergreen, and there's another guy out of, I mean, they're all down south, way down south. I mean, I wouldn't come up here and do what they're doing. I mean, they're using it's a full day in a big truck hauling a heavy load coming up here. So, it's, what they're doing is a lot. And so, and it's just because there's nobody up here does it. No, well, the people that do it don't want to do it for hire. You know, they do it for themselves, but they don't want to spread it. Spread it's the problem.
So they're bringing their mix from down south, and we're gonna get it from Decatur.
Yeah. Well, they're the low bidder, but Decatur's the only terminal close to us. So there's basically 2 terminals. There's one in Pell City and one in Decatur. The one in Pell City has the ACCA joint bid. We can buy off that legally. We can buy off that anytime. We've already bought off that. It's joint bid. But it's in Pell City. So that's a problem. And I really don't want our boys running to Pell City. It's just 2 hours, 45 minutes. It's just a long way. There's another one in Dixon, Tennessee. It's complicated when you start hauling across state lines too. I don't know that our county exemptions for like no health cards and things like that, I don't know if that works for us. And it's one thing to drive up there and pick up a piece of equipment, bring it back, but like to be making routine, regular hauls, I don't like that Tennessee run if we don't have to. So Decatur, assuming that they are the low bidder, would be that would be very practical for us. So, we've also sent it to every concrete company in the area. So all your Smyrna Ready Mix, your USA Ready Mix, those guys. But remember, they're a third party. All they do is buy it from CMEX. So they get it delivered there, and so their bid, I'm sure it's gonna be higher, because they're gonna be, their price is gonna be a lot higher than what CMEX is. So, we've met with those CMEX guys, and so, I mean, they really wanna sell. So I'm hoping they'll have this good price. So, like I said, we don't have to decide anything tonight, but just know we'll know a lot more Thursday when we find out what the low bidder is and what the availability is as well.
Well, do we want to put that on Monday's agenda?
I think we should.
Well, it's bid, we'll have it on there, because it's bid open in the
If we don't like it, we can
You
reject
don't have to accept
it. It'll be
it.
on the agenda.
It'll be on there.
If it meets Eric's criteria, I say let's move on.
Good, everybody good with it?
Okay. And I'll keep you guys posted on what the bids went on Thursday. Well, I'm gonna say that till he gets back, because he's really gonna wanna hear it. The next thing is, got a big surprise today, and you ever heard the old saying about the dog that finally caught the car? Well, here we are, because we got approved for the BIP grant. Me and Luke McGinty, the vice president of the ACDA this year, the Elmore County engineer, you know, we spent all that time with ACOM and did a joint application for 31 counties, us and 31 counties to get all those bridges. Well, we got it. And so Adderholt's office called Keith Jones today and said, what's Lauderdale County doing getting all this money? And so, so Keith called me, asked some questions, and that's how I found out. So, so we're very excited about that, but, oh man, we've caught the car. So, so as a reminder, because we got this is basically a $300,000 grant. Now, we were awarded a little over $250,000. We have to pay a 10%. It's 90/10, we have to pay our 10%. Now, but that 10% is divided among 31 counties, so it'll be like a couple $1,000s for us. So we will get those funds. Florida will get those funds. We will pay AECOM $300,000 to do another application for the actual construction. So, that's good. So here we are. So, and if this was to go through, I mean, this will fall under the same category as like the old Tiger grants, things like that. And 31 counties get bridges because we did this. And so thank y'all for letting us do it. And I think Anita's had to deal with Jones County and every other county sending us checks, scraping couch cushions for money and sending it in, so all that stuff straight on in, and they just had to, I know it's a lot of headache for her to keep up with it, but that's good news. So that leads to the next thing I've got. Now that we've caught this car, y'all remember which bridge we put in that? That's y'all. So, just so happens, it's another good timing, because last week, we have 3 official alignments. I'm gonna spread them down through here. All right. Hold that for a second. Alignment number 1, you got 3 options, okay? Alignment number 1. You see the yellow here? Okay, that is the downstream side. That's the non-marina side, okay? You know, the side opposite of that. That is moving the bridge over, going downstream. You see the houses in orange, those would have to be purchased, okay? When I say purchased, that's probably a strong word. What's my official word, Chris? I want to say liquidated damages, that ain't the right word. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it may not be a complete take of those structures, it may just be a devaluing of some sort. We would likely have to pay them money, because, you know, the right of way would be changing, and the road may be encroaching on the property where it wasn't before. In other words, not saying it would be a bulldozer.
It looks like that one's encroaching on the bedroom.
Now, that one probably needs a bulldozer, but some of the, I'm just saying, just because they're orange, it means they're gonna be impacted, but it doesn't 100% mean that they will be taken. Could be all of them, but we're not 100% sure on that, okay? That's option 1. The other thing to add on this, 2 things. We keep the existing bridge open for the majority of the construction, okay? So we'll talk pros and cons of each in a minute. And you're looking at about $8 million. Okay? Now look, this one is my baby. It's not the best option, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you. If this is the one that I want, but it's not the best option, I'm just gonna tell you. This is shoot the moon. This is my existing bridge here. Okay? That one has about 6 structures, has a lot more structures involved, it will be tough, and it's $30 million. And so I have expensive taste, I do. But this would be a great project. It would make the corridor better. I would love to see this, but $30 million, it's hard for me in good faith to present that to y'all as a viable option. But we do, by just the way the feds will want to do it, we have to have 3 options, so it's on the table. It would be, like, in 50 years, we would be glad we built this. But for $30 million, especially when we're dealing with a $100 million grant pool for the whole state, I can't use this money for a $30 million bridge, right? There's just no way. And so that's option 2.
Stretches it out.
It does right now. At 10,000 feet, it looks great. This is option 3. This one is turn alignment. If the bridge would be elevated substantially, because just modern design, I was adamant, I wanted at least 14 feet of vertical clearance underneath it. I don't know if y'all get those calls for people that live upstream that want a bigger boat, they can't get one, well, this would help them with that, and now's the time to fix it, we're gonna do it. So this would keep the same alignment, as you can see, impact-wise, I mean, it goes about from this driveway here down to just the end of the marina, pretty limited. 0 structures, $8 million.
How long would the bridge be closed?
It's a good question. And we actually, don't know right now, but we actually, AECOM's talked to me about when you do something like that, if we can show that the other option, if we show we want to go this route and the other options aren't viable, well, there's a good reason why this is the best bet. And there's probably something we could table. You can do some advanced, basically expedited construction stuff. For example, you go in, you leave the bridge open, you go in and you build up, draw all your piers, you do all the work around the existing bridge for as long as you can, then you go in and demolish. And so there are some things that we could do, for sure, so.
So within 2 years.
Oh, we can go.
Is either of those, 2-lane, 4-lane?
They're all 2 lanes. They're all 2 lanes.
You know, I don't understand, 30 years ago, they put a ridge at Waterloo, we had, under federal guidelines, we had to make it a 4-lane bridge. And since that time, it's went south. What happened, I wonder?
They're just trying to spend as little as things can, which we're no. I mean, that's a 6,000 car a day bridge. You know, I mean, and until that bridge will easily handle 10,000 cars. And so, I mean, it's just not there.
So the cost of the first and last option are the same?
But
Is option 1 14 feet? They're both 3.
the other thing, those are conversation numbers. We have not priced right away. I don't know what those houses would cost. We haven't got any, that's, you know, that's like my 30 million with Shoot the Moon. It's got enough structure in it, it'd probably be 35. And those are some nice structures too, so it may be more than that. So it's, but this is ballpark stuff. But I have been reluctant to give them too much leash to, I didn't want them to go doing environmental studies on a plan that's gonna be $30 million. So we really need to kind of pick, you know, and if,
How long will it take? How long will the bridge be closed on? I know on the one with the existing bridge.
I don't know. I could get you an estimate on that. But, you know, I'm gonna say,
2 lines.
yeah, I'm gonna say, I don't know. I'm afraid to guess. But I'll get a good estimate on it. And there's a lot of things that affect that. There's a water line hanging on that bridge too. That's something else we gotta deal with. We don't do that anymore. I would really rather not put a water line up on it. We don't let anybody else do that. So that's
Who's got one on it?
pretty sure it's great.
What would they do? If it's not on the bridge?
4.
The born, that'd be their expense, would we share?
Typically, that would be their expense.
We upped that fee though, what do we up it to?
Yeah, 10,000.
10,000?
Yeah, we could. That'd be expensive, which in the grand scheme of things, you know, County Road 16 and the city of Florence poured that one, and I think they had a couple $100,000, you know, and it really wasn't much shorter than that. And this bridge ain't much bigger than 16.
So basically what you're saying is, if we close the bridge, you're gonna make a bunch of people mad. And if you go with the first thing, you're gonna have to find you're just gonna make two people mad, like getting their problems.
Pretty like, yeah.
But they're gonna be real mad.
They're gonna be real
They're gonna be
mad.
real mad.
Yeah.
Well, and I can tell you, I've had to buy houses before. And force people out of houses that didn't want to be there. It's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to do. And it's, you know,
So will this money be available, Larry?
well, I don't know if you was in here for the first part. We got the VIP grant today.
The state got it.
I got it. We got it. We are the applicant for the state of Alabama.
How much?
$300,000
$300,000.
to do the design for the. put it
You know,
in
I'm
the
talking
truck.
about the 8B.
Well, that's $100 million.
To the state. It's there.
If we get the next grant, we've got the first step. We got to do one more. So we don't have to decide tonight, but this BIP, all this infrastructure funding has a deadline on it, right? You know, that was a 5-year program. And so we really, this time next year, that thing will have to be submitted. And so we don't have to have a full design to submit for that money. And the other thing is this, we got $100 million across the state. If this thing comes in any more than $8 million, it'd be hard for us to go after that. I mean, as one of 33 to ask for 15% of the pie.
We did most of the work.
That's a good point. But still, there's gotta be enough in the kitty to go around. So we just gotta know that, you know, in the back of my mind, I've got a plan B too. Try to figure out what would be a cheaper option for us. We need to get something out the door and get it done, get it in this program. And then we have this ready as soon as the next funding or the next.
So to put it back where it is, you wouldn't have to do anything, I mean, buy anything,
Yeah.
you just tear it out and put it back.
Which I'm surprised they could do. I figured they'd get that house right by it on the south side. They think they can do it. So, we're farther along on this than we have been. And like I said, no decision needed tonight, just, that's something we need to, pretty soon we need to decide. And so the real question is this: how important is closing it or not closing it? And then you compare that with, you know, buying structures or not. Because like I said, the money's the same. They're basically the same. But, the only other thing I've got is, we put a traffic signal up today, or we managed a traffic signal being put up today. And there is officially I forget what it's called. We basically hung green arrows.
Split
So-
phase.
Split phase, yes. So now at the red light in
Road
Rockville.
engineer.
Yeah. So thanks to Commissioner Fenn, I won't get into that, but, so, before school traffic, that was the promise we made on this whole thing, we get it done before school, but we got in 2 days before that, so Shoals Electric got finished today, so that is officially split phase, so now when you pull up, it's not just green both ways, and people get out there and get hung up, don't know which way to go. You'll sit there until your light turns green, and then everybody just goes, and then their side will turn green and don't go. So, I think it's gonna be good. I wanted to make sure y'all knew that. I also want to make sure you know, I would expect a few complaints. Traffic, anytime you're changing a traffic light, people don't like it. They're gonna hate it, and then in 2 months, they're just gonna say, huh, somebody I used to get stopped at this light all the time, and then realize they don't. So I would expect a few calls at first. I've already heard a few, so. And then also, the Rogersville Road that I helped those guys do that, we got that paid today, so it's done before school starts. So, big day for Rogersville Day. So, and Mr. Chairman, that is all I've got.
Anything else for Eric?
Mr. Chairman, this is for Eric. On the west end, when are we gonna go road?
Bush Hog Road?
Yeah, Bush Hog Road.
We're Bush Hog Road today.
How many hogs?
We got 3 running in a crew of 2 running in the west end.
We need them, man. Well, they're working on Friday, Saturday.
Right? Not on Saturday. They cut Sunset Beach on Friday.
So they spent a bunch of overtime last week, so I say they did.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, we-
These roads are, on the side of the road, and I know you mentioned Waterloo Road, of course, I'm talking about every several other roads down there that are really bad. And how about the motor?
Every day.
How many we got going? Two?
I checked, 2 or 3 today. 2 I know of, I check on Thursday. There's one in the West End, there's one that stays in the West End.
But you and I have talked about those. That's something that we're not gonna be able to do without. So as they wear out, we just gonna have to bite the bullet
Yeah,
and buy some more.
yeah.
So you got your people now, right?
Mhm.
Full crew.
Yeah.
Crew.
Got 9 full-time people they didn't have last year.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's all I had. I was just curious about that. We need to keep them rolling if we can.
Yeah, they're good, actually.
I mean, spraying's one thing, but keeping the mowers going and cutting that stuff away is my thing. So I like it cut.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's all I know.
Anything else? All right. Great.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll try to be brief. Just to give everyone an update on what we've been dealing with for the last, I guess, 2 weeks now. Most of our incidents have been water-related. We went to Limestone County Thursday of last week on the drowning. They had requested dive assets from Lauderdale County, and I'm not going to send assets out of the county without having some representation. I'm really thankful we did. There was some kick-up between the rescue squad volunteers and the called-in responders. It was a tragic fluke accident that happened. The gentleman was attempting to load a boat onto a trailer, and it appears that the rope broke and the boat flipped, and when it did, it threw the occupant of the boat off the water, or off into the water, and tragically he passed away. Then on Wilson Lake, over the last week and a half, we've had 3 incidents that have happened. We had the fire at Turtle Point yesterday. We had a boat that sunk near the boat ramp at Shoal Creek. And then we had a boat that hit a seawall and partially sank. I bring those up because as you get calls, I think it's important that you know kind of the situation we're facing between the different lakes. So on Pickwick Lake and on Wheeler Lake, we have marine assets that are housed in the water there. We have fire boats, we have law enforcement boats that are there. Most of the time, if you kind of look up and down the Tennessee River, those are staged or housed in industrial areas. It's non-property owners, so you don't have to worry about the shoreline and the costs associated with that, and those assets can be kept in those particular areas. Obviously, Florence Harbor is an asset of the city of Florence, and so there's a little bit of leeway to be able to put their boats there. Wilson Lake's unique. Wilson Lake is where about 60% of the boating accidents in our area happen, but there's no industrial area within the lake. There's the small area that the Corps of Engineer manages that's close to the dam, and there's the small area that TVA manages at Fleet Harbor. As a result, there aren't any assets available in the water on Wilson Lake. We're able to trailer some of those assets and move them around, which is what happened on Sunday with the yacht fire. In that case, Florence attempted to lock their boat through Wilson to get to the scene. Unfortunately, there was a barge in the locks at the time, so they were unable to make that happen. Their trailer is kept at their training center, which is north of the city, and so trying to logistically get their trailer down to the boat, trailer the boat, then move it up to Wilson Lake, just doesn't happen. Same thing with assets coming out of Decatur. Decatur tried to lock through Wheeler to come down to assist. Barge was in that lock, couldn't get down either. Muscle Shoals has a small flat bottom boat with a pump on it that they keep trailered at their fire department. They were able to put it in the water and it responded to the area. I will say my hat's off to Killen Fire Department. There's been a lot of conversation that's happened as a result of that fire. I can say, being there on scene, that had Number one, there was a boat owner and his wife who were asleep on their boat who called the fire in. They were able to get to 2 of the lines to cut those and to start attempting to move the boat out of the slip. 2 young volunteer firefighters with Killen showed up, and if you can imagine, you've got a 65-foot 4-level yacht on fire, fully engulfed on one side. You have a 3-level 60-foot yacht that's partially engulfed on the other side, and a concrete walkway in between. And these 2 kids geared up, went down that walkway, and were able to get all of the boat untied and start pushing it out of the dock, which without a doubt saved a number of vessels on that dock yesterday. So my hat is off to Killen Fire Department and all the volunteers that showed up for that. There's been some questions that have come up about environmental impact of that. So let me make it clear, as you get calls, that fire did not penetrate into the engine compartment of the boat. It did not get into the fuel area of the boat. There were no fuel leaks, there were no oil leaks. The boat was checked. Yes, water was pumped from the boat. It was pumped into a boom containment area. So we were able to capture anything that floated, the fiberglass and all of that type of stuff. So what ended up in the water was city water, and that's all that was there. ADM was contacted. They have reviewed it. They reviewed our procedure from yesterday. But we were able to get enough water out of the bottom of the boat that the firefighters had put on the boat while they were extinguishing the boat to keep the boat afloat. It's temporarily been moved to the area of Lock 6 boat ramp. If you're familiar with that area, that slough actually goes in deeper. Roger Brown I think that's come before the commission, that development that he's got there. So it's moved back into that area. It's still floating, it's secured, it's safe. It's waiting on the insurance company to finish their evaluation. And then it will likely have to be floated from here to Mississippi to be pulled. We talked with all of the local assets that were on the water, and nobody had a crane that was strong enough to get that size boat out of the water. But we're moving forward with that. The boat incident that happened at Shoal Creek, you get questions about that one. So that boat had been out of the water for a number of years. It was completely dry. It had no fuel in it. It had no oil in the engine. The owner of the boat had had it in front of his business for some time, had placed it in the water with the intent to float it to Lucy's branch, and inadvertently a plug was left out of it. Came back the next morning and the boat was sunk. It stayed in the water for about 5 days. The reason it stayed in the water for 5 days was because DOT had to sign off on putting a crane on the old bridge, approach, the old bridge approach, before he could bring a crane in to pull that boat out of the water. So that was the time lapse there. The third incident that happened over the weekend with the boat that hit the seawall, it stayed in the water for a day for the salvage company to get there. The salvage company came in, put the booms around, and were able to get it out. So as you hear about those calls, particularly on Lake Wilson, that's kind of the obstacle that we're up against right now. We are looking for opportunities to place emergency responders on the water in those areas. The new owner of Marine Mar has been very accommodating to the state troopers and the Marine Police, but we've got to get a fireboat asset to be able to approach those. I think it's only logical for us, and we'll do that through grants and working with our legislators to try to get that asset. There's too much on that lake to not have that. So moving forward with that. The other thing, I'm working with Sheriff Hamilton and Director Burbank on the jail. They've had some issues with power over there. So we've got a proposal in to go back and do a study. If you'll recall, over the years, when the jail was originally built, the jail was built with a generator on site, and that generator was ample enough to supply the critical infrastructure of the jail as it was designed in that time. Over the years, a number of modifications have been made to that jail, including electric toilets to cut down on people stopping up toilets and those type of things. None of those resources were put onto that generator. At the same time, there's been some energy reduction that has happened because LED lighting has gone in, which doesn't take as much utility. Outlets have been changed as offices have been moved. So we're going through the process of exploring bringing in an electrical engineer to do a study on that jail before we invest in a new generator, because it may be a situation to where we can move some of the electrical circuits that currently aren't on that generator onto the existing generator, and then look at long-term, either putting additional plugs so we can use one of our roll-up generators, if they're going to need additional resources. So just know that we're working through that process as we move through. I think that's all I have for you today.
It'll be the weekend.
It is that, it is a weekend.
Look at the lake.
Hey, Tom?
Quick item, I'll let you, we open bids Thursday on the conduit rough ends at Rush Creek. This is what we got so far. I'll look at them. Y'all talk about them, discuss them.
Well, the electric, as you can see, is our low bidder on this one.
Yeah, the electric by far the lowest bid on this.
In our,
The electrical engineer, Mr. Wentz, was very pleased with the bids.
and he'd worked with this company before and had no issues with working with them now, so, I would plan on, to put it on the, this is the money that the county's spending, this is not money for the grant. This 42,000 would come out of Parks and Recreation. So, it would be on the meeting, it'd be on the meeting for Monday. The bid, because the bid's here, if there's not really any reason to go with anybody else. So Tom and I both agreed on that, and then when the engineer said he'd worked with that company before and was happy with it, I felt like that was pretty much a good.
And, we talked to them about they could start the last Trail of Tears, which will be on, I think, the 22nd. I think is when we told them they could start 23rd, going Monday. And they didn't seem to be a problem, so they
Yeah,
had
they were
done it in
30
2 days.
days, yeah.
And also in those specs, they have to bore everything. If it's a terrible water line, they gotta fix it. If they can't cut through the pavement, they gotta go through, bore everything. So if they damage anything, they've got to pay for it.
That's 4 excellent contractors.
Yeah, yeah. He was very, very pleased with these.
That's good.
That's good.
Real good.
Really good.
Hey, Bruce.
I have meetings set up in the morning with one of the municipal lawyers. Then I have a phone conference with Mr. Lockwood right after lunch, and I'll be calling you all to discuss that, because that's litigation strategy, which is not something we'll talk about in a public meeting. But I want to have those 2 meetings before I call you, because I need to know what they know to be able to inform you. So look for a phone call tomorrow afternoon from me.
All right. We'll let the department heads be on.
That's what I'm saying.
I was gonna have to, Brad, we were gonna do that, and I told him, I don't remember. But no, I got leaks.
The attorney's already left, we thought the meeting was over.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Who left?
Our attorney,
Oh, well, we don't, do we need him?
I don't know, that's up to y'all.
We'll turn it over to you.
Well, we need to do a yearly, on here, we'll do a yearly letter authorization to the health department. St. Florine's asking for $5,000 for Oktoberfest. And, the farmer's market is gonna be $6,800 to the roof. And the rest is all budget stuff that we'll have to talk at a budget meeting.
About the sign.
Well, that's, if Mr. Hackworth wants to bring that up, I have the
Okay.
information if he wants.
Go ahead and share that if you'd like.
Okay. We had a guy come, it's on the state bid list to do replace the outside signs. And they would be 3 replacement, they'd be a little bit bigger than what they are now. It'd be I think it's $84,000 to do all 3 of them.
That's what he estimated.
That's,
Does that include his labor?
that's everything.
84,000.
Mm-hmm. That would be hooked up to a computer, you can look at it, and you can put anything we want up there. You know, like when the courthouse is closed, I can put up there the county's closed. If it's Merry Christmas, we can put up Merry Christmas. If otherwise, it'll have the time and temperature, it'll have enough room for both, you know. If we had some kind of emergency or whatever, we could put it, and you'd be able to read it off of
Is
those.
that one that they can see coming from that
It's a-
direction?
you can
one
see
they
it
from
everywhere.
Tennessee,
Yeah.
one they see coming up
Yes, sir.
that corner.
Mhm. You can see all 3. I've got a picture in there if you want to look at it in the book that he made. It's just a computer printout, but I mean, it's basically a screen just like that, other than it'll be for outside, you know, like that screen was. We could put the same thing that we do on that. It'll be hooked up to its own laptop.
I like those myself.
I do too. Mr. Hackworth and I talked about it, you know, because it's just convenient, it's just nice to have that information up there. And I like the idea if we could put whatever we want to up there, if we had some kind of emergency, or we had, you know, like severe weather, whatever, anything that or, you know, the courthouse is closed today for a holiday, that when people come up here and there's certain days that they don't know we're closed. Well, they don't have to get out of their car, and they realize they can come up
Yep.
here and, you know, and do that.
That's good.
And he's on the state bid list, so it doesn't have to be bid out or anything, it's through the state of Alabama.
That sounds good to me.
And
Then we
he's
still
local.
put our signage on the door.
Yeah,
On
I
top
mean,
of that.
we do that, but I mean, we do put signs on the doors, but people have to get out of their car to
Right,
come up.
yeah,
This
that's
way
what I
they would-
mean. If
yeah.
they happen to just look up,
Now,
at least
tell
when
me
they get in
again,
the door, they'll see it.
tell me again where they're gonna be located.
Same place they are now.
Okay.
But they're just gonna be bigger, and they'll take those down, that's taking those down, it's already got power to the source. So we won't have to run any power or anything, we already have power going to those old places. He'll take them down, they'll have to do them on cranes.
Okay.
They can't do
What
them on the
size do you say?
The signs that are already up,
I don't know,
You know.
what size?
8 by 5, I think is what he said, 8, I can go in there and get the brochure and show
Well,
it
that's
to you.
okay,
I think it's bigger than the one we have, and he's got a picture, he's imposed it on the picture, you can see it. But it doesn't have to be, it won't be bid out or anything like that, if y'all are okay with going forward with it. That would be the other, and then the only other thing is, you know, I need to set up some meetings with you guys for budgets.
When y'all
Those
gonna
are
start,
fun.
when y'all gonna start the budgets?
We can start one next week.
We gotta get them done by next week, because I mean, we don't have that many weeks left between now and I've got them pretty much all filled out and ready to go. We've got some, you know, but I don't like to talk about people's budgets when they're
Because
not
the
here.
next week will be the ACCA.
I know.
So if we could get one in there before that, that'd be nice.
If we could, you know, we used to spend about, what, 30 minutes with them?
30 an hour. Like Eric's budget is tremendous over what it is this past year. It's gonna be more than 5 or 10 minutes to do. Some of them, you know, we can do them in 5 or 10 minutes. and
And
some we can't.
on Monday, we have a meeting, so could we make it?
Come in earlier?
I mean,
That's up to y'all.
What do you think?
Yeah. Anytime y'all want to come in, one,
Whatever we need.
would you set us up a schedule for,
Yeah, figure it all
we
out.
might could get 2 groups, 2 in it before 3.
If you do 30 minutes, we can get forward. I mean, there's some departments that you may not even, you can just look at it, you may not have to have a department head. Some of the departments don't have that much of a change from one year to the next. Other than, we do need to have an executive session if we're gonna be talking about it in public, about the payroll and stuff, and I do need to talk to y'all about that today. So, we need to go to an executive session that we're not gonna come out
On payroll.
on payroll. Mhm.
Okay.
Hey, I got one more thing to y'all for me. The Tennessee Valley Authority called me Friday, and that turbine is going to be removed next week and sent to our site.
Okay.
Now, the turbine, they're giving us the whole thing, turbine, generator, everything. Now, and all that's good, all that's great. There's one problem. You know what the shell on that generator weighs? This is just a shell, this is not the rotor, the stator, 110 tons. So we're gonna have to look at beefing the floor up on the additions on it.
Okay.
Who's gonna bring that over for them?
They are.
They got equipment to bring that over?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what he said, you know what he told me, and I think he's wrong here, but I didn't argue with him. He said they're probably gonna burn a 500-ton crane to set it with. So we're gonna set it up on the hill, on the pad for the main event center. They'll sit there till we get,
Will it,
Will they come and move it when we get
Tarp.
ready, when we need to move the
Tarp,
TV,
yeah.
come and move?
Tarps and Cosmo to go over everything, Cosmoline to go over all the, stuff that they don't want to rust.
Yeah.
Will TVA come and move it where we want it to go when we get set? They'll come and move
Oh,
it
yeah.
for us too?
Yeah, they'll do all of
I didn't know.
I hope they're not expecting us to do it. I'm probably not even gonna be on there when they pick it up.
that. Well, it'd be,
And y'all, I don't have a comp, John's supposed to be getting us a spec on what, what the floor would cost, and then go from there.
When you saying where they gonna put it temporarily, is that a concrete pad on
No, they're gonna put it on that pad, that, jerk pad up there where the, ag center's at. You might think, now, I don't know,
Well, that's it?
But right now, they don't even have a place. They don't, at this point, they don't know how they're gonna get it here, because you can't cross bridges. It'll have to be barged here. And then figure out how you're gonna get it off and get it up there.
that's something.
it's amazing.
I wonder if our harbor's big enough to take it. Cause that harbor's not real deep over there right now. It's very.
Well, they ain't got nothing to offload it with. I guess you can bring that 500-ton crane over. Up here, right there.
Can you?
Yeah, with one that big, it's hard. I mean, you probably talking about a day to set the crane up.
So what you talking about beefing up is a permanent?
Yes, the floor itself, where we're gonna set it.
Mhm.
And cause that engineer, them said piling, but, and y'all, I don't know what that would mean about dry piling. John said he's only could do it without piling, just beat the floor up. So I don't know, we'll have to wait and see.
Well,
what they
that'll be a
say.
change order thing that'll have to be done before you can set anything on it.
How long will it take to beat it up, do we know?
How, if you want to.
How long will it take to beat the floor up?
Well, see, it's not there yet. We'll
I mean,
put
no,
it,
when they go to work on the floor.
the floor ain't there.
Oh,
We're
the
gonna
floor
put
is
it,
not
we're
there.
gonna put it in the additional part that we're
Oh.
gonna do on it. So that actually worked out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's working out okay then, yeah.
But I thought we beefed that floor up already for the.
It's a foot
just not-
thick.
It's just not deep enough.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it'd take. I mean, the whole thing was 375 tons.
Yeah. Well, John will know all that.
I mean, I've seen one of those.
Well, he's got with engineers to find
Yeah,
out.
that's what I mean.
We'll have to ask John. He'll
He
be,
said hopefully he'd have something like
Maybe
that.
Can you, work from Bernie with the get-go on pictures of the whole stages?
Yeah, yeah.
And.
And I
They-
might try to, we may see if John will keep us a documentation of it. He'll be there with it
And
every
if he
day.
could have pictures of it coming in, I
Mhm.
mean, you name it, all
That'd
the
be great,
stages.
at first before,
it
Yeah,
sure will.
yeah.
pictures of that thing being trucked in with, offset with.
But the 19th,
What, the
they're,
night-
they're starting shipping the 19th.
I could probably find out some information on if they're gonna ship it by barges, because, my brother runs the Decatur barge.
Well, now it's gotta come by barge.
So he can.
It's
probably-
coming by barge.
And he works with the,
Don't know where it's gonna get off at.
if he's in town.
It's coming from Allen.
Where's it coming from?
Allen.
That's down Memphis way.
So see, he does he's over the Memphis barge too.
So if they'll have to go up the Mississippi River
And then
in
come.
Cairo and then come back down to Tennessee.
Yeah, they'll have to go up to Lamb Between, yeah, where, yeah.
Yeah.
Cause is Allen on the Mississippi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waco owns Mississippi, the Memphis barge, and they own that company that my brother works, they own that. And I bet you what is the people that do the safe, Coast Guard, they'll be involved in that too, I bet.
I don't know, I'll come out there when they got it set on tenders.
Because of the size.
Cause you know, I will be gone this week.
Oh, is that when it's done?
When you say they go, that's when they're expecting delivery.
They're starting shipping the 19th.
Well, it'll
Yeah, but
take a
now they'll
while.
take-
No, but now everything won't come on barge. Some stuff will come on trucks.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So we need to plan to have somebody out there to be the,
John.
I mean, other than John, though, somebody
be
for the
doing it.
county,
No.
looking at the county aspects of it.
No, John will be good. The only thing is he'll be gone a couple of days.
We'll have to figure out we'll have to make sure we have somebody up there.
Well,
There's nobody more qualified than John.
But I just want to make, and y'all, as soon as I get a cost or we find out, I'll get, you know.
I'd like to see it come through a bar, I'd like to see it be barged through.
And we're gonna have to expand that side door too, cause it's 20 foot wide.
I thought we already did that on that second, that's change order, I thought that's what that was doing. But that's not a county,
I don't know.
that's, I mean, you know, we did the change order, that last change order for that.
I don't know.
that sounds good.
So y'all wanna go forward with the signs? You wanna just do it in next year's budget?
Yeah. Yeah, I
But, you
think
know,
that.
We've got a lot, I hope y'all plan to attend these meetings, because people are asking for a lot of stuff.
Let's be sure to go ahead up front and add that extra money we were gonna give the fire departments that we didn't, that we put that on
Well, I don't, those are
Appropriation.
the appropriation list is the one we need to really look at.
that's what I'm
about
telling
cutting,
you right
but I'm-
now,
I'm-
to put
well, I mean,
that
we-
money on the,
the hu- the
add to
hun-
their appropriation.
We already added to it last year, you want to add more than what we
Yeah,
did
that
last year?
we talked about in the middle of the year, was to hold off and add to this year's
You'll
appropriation.
have to show it to me, because I don't.
What was that money, what was we doing there, y'all remember? We was gonna, instead of doing we do it on the appropriation to make it. Yeah, we held off a certain amount of money and we were gonna put it on to
Oh,
appropriation.
was that something for them radios? Or the communication? I don't remember holding anything. Do you remember, John? I don't remember.
We held off something,
Well, they've all
Should've
asked for a
wrote down
bunch
the
more
amount.
money and a new
it was so much of the
computers.
department, we was,
The only thing I remember, Dennis, holding off, we held some off until they complied with, whatever they're supposed to comply with.
this is different now.
What about the computers? All that new information on that, all that stuff's gone way up on that, are we gonna pay
Well,
for
that's
all
what he's
that?
talking about. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, y'all. we won't-
Even if they haven't used, they're not using it?
Brad's working with them on who's using it and who doesn't. And we're only gonna fund the ones
That
that
use
use
it?
it. And he's got if he hadn't already got the names, he'll have to use it now at the association meeting. But, Brandon Straight's been working too with them, gathering all the information, everybody on who's gonna use it, and who's not gonna use it. All of them will not be using it.
But now I still haven't
Know
heard
that.
anything from I haven't gotten any information from as far as fundraising for the Trail of Tears. Nobody's called, we haven't gotten a letter asking for money.
We didn't get anything from Lexington this time, and I'm not tracking them down
Okay.
again.
The only thing I got was St. You know, the one
I
for
used to
St.
give
Florence.
5,000 on that tractor.
That's it.
The big one.
We'll give the seat.
It's St. They didn't, you know, we
Yeah.
haven't heard from any of those people. And, you know, the year's fixing to be over.
During our budget meetings, if we get a little time, let's talk about our appropriations.
I've got that on the
Okay, good.
But there's the big departments y'all need to be sitting in on, because they're.
1 o'clock Monday?
Yeah, that sounds good work.
1 o'clock. Be sure and send us a reminder.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, board, I've got board issues on here. I haven't heard anything from, we've got, you know, a lot of board, a lot of like cemetery boards and things like that. And we talked to them the other day, and they haven't had a meeting in 3 years. And I just wondered if some of these boards, we need to just, do we even need those? Or-
Some of those older folks passed away that was saying that.
We've got everybody, because we sent this guy a letter, and he called Alicia and told her, you know, they hadn't had a meeting in 3 years. So I just don't know, I mean, if there's an issue or a problem, they call us anyway, if we need to, the boards don't get paid or anything. I just wonder if some of these boards, we shouldn't just, you know, and I'm not saying doing away with all of them, but do we really need a cemetery board anymore? They're not, they hadn't met in 3 years, and we hadn't had any problems.
And we've been handling
We've been handling them if they have.
whatever it is to handle.
Whatever
I don't know
it
we
is.
handle anything.
I think a lot of times they don't necessarily meet, but they'll call the work crew together and they'll go out and clean up the
Well,
cemetery.
they may do that, but now, he just told Alicia, like I said, that he hadn't, the one that we was up for reelection. That I'll have to, I can get his name, he just said they hadn't had a meeting in 3 years.
I know Lee Freeman's on that board.
Yeah,
And they're pretty active.
Yeah.
well, I mean, you know, they gotta show to us that they're doing something, I mean, you know, that's all I'm saying.
I'll talk to him, I'll see him
See what
Sunday,
he
I'll
said,
ask him.
ask him, see what, you know.
What's the guy's name?
Because they don't get paid or anything for any of those, for some of those boards.
UNA that
Is that what that?
spots graves and stuff in their cemetery. His name. I gotta find out his name.
Who are you looking for?
The guy that, comes out and spots the graves. You
Is he
know,
not on the
old
board?
graves and
He's
stuff.
not on the board?
No, no. He did work for UNA, that's the reason I thought Joe might know him, he's an older fellow.
Well, most of our board members are retired.
Is that all we got?
Anything you guys, I need to do for you guys? That's all I got then.
Okay. All right. Let's go through that.